Hello again, my whiskey drinking friends. We're here today with a Crown Royal special. I've never reviewed Crown. I've been trying to get to it. Some of this bottle's empty because of the my attempts to get to that review, but I've had various problems over time getting to it. And this was the Crown Royal Maple, which is their new offering in their line. And this was on sale for a really good price, $20, and so I picked it up. Crown, in our discussions, I'm classifying Crown as a value liquor, because you can get it for $20, and if I usually think if you can get something for under $25, you're not in what I would call the cheap whiskey area, but you're in whiskey where if you get something good, you're in a good value. And Crown is a lot of people's go-to choice for that because widely available. It's known for its drinkability and its smoothness. And for its price, it's not bad. I mean, when you talk about its competitors, you're talking about Jack Daniels, which we've already reviewed, Buffalo Trace, which we've already reviewed, Black Bottle, Jim Beam 8, as far as what I would call good whiskeys that you can get for about $20. Of the group, if you've watched, my ordering, except for Crown. So let's start with the Crown. Standard blended Canadian whiskey is what this is. And so I think it has some rye in it, some wheat, some various things they've done. And I haven't had a whole lot of Canadian whiskey. And in general, I don't drink a whole lot of Canadian whiskey. And I haven't found many Canadian whiskeys I really like. And so to get a blend that's pretty good out of that and cheap is impressive. Now, when you smell it, butterscotch seems to be the thing I'm getting. In fact, it's pretty dominant. Very sweet smelling. Maybe some spices in there, but butterscotch is predominating. Interesting. You can see the maple is actually a little darker, it looks like, in the Crown. Although in the bottle, but in the glass, they're not much different in their coloration. It tastes like it smells, although spice, maybe cinnamon, predominates more. Get a little vanilla in there. The butterscotch is not as predominant on the palate as it is on your nose. Very inoffensive. Nice all around flavor. If you want something that's like a meal kick, this is certainly not it. Very smooth. I like it. I think it's a great value whiskey. A good starter. A good one to bring to social functions. Good for all that stuff. There are better whiskeys. I personally like Buffalo Trace a little more. But all things considered, I like it. And I think for $20, this is one I kind of like to keep in my refrigerator. In comparison to Buffalo Trace and Black Bottle, not as much is going on, but that can be a mixed blessing in whiskey. A little medicinal aftertaste in there. For me, at least. I don't know if this, I'll try to cut it. See if that opens it up a little bit. I usually don't like to cut 40% blends because usually they've kind of, you open it up a little bit and that's nice, but basically you don't want to disturb the balance. This is a really balanced whiskey. And sometimes water will change the balance, and oftentimes that's a really good thing. But occasionally, you don't want that. You want a whiskey. Well, that may be a little better. That kind of note I didn't like is kind of gone now. Still getting the same balanced notes. Predominantly sweet. There's a little spice in there, but again, this is one of those whiskeys that isn't challenging you at all, but it tastes good. I mean, a lot of people use this in colas and things. I actually think this is too good of a whiskey for that. But your mileage might vary. If you've never tried it, I think you should get it. It's a great place to start for Canadian whiskey. Now the maple, let's get to that next. That it is a, my understanding is it is Crown, just Crown. Soaked in maple chips, I believe. And the consensus when I was reading about it seems to be that this is Crown Royal's attempt to get into the what I would call sweet whiskey things or mixed whiskey. Although this is not a blend and doesn't have added flavor. Although oak chips, actually soaking the chips, if that is in fact what they do, that's a really strong process. I don't know how long they soak it, but that is a powerful way to add some stuff to your whiskey. I wouldn't imagine you have to do very long at all, which probably keeps the price down. Although again, I'm sure that given that they're using a bunch of maple chips, that those chips are adding the extra cost. And this usually runs a few dollars more than the Crown Royal. The market is moving towards these. I call these chick whiskeys because they are whiskeys. They're not flavored whiskeys, but the honey whiskeys, particularly with the best that I've had being Jack. Jack's really good product has a really good product in their honey whiskey. I don't drink it very often. I buy it occasionally if I'm going to a social function with girls because I find that girls like it a lot, and girls generally do not like whiskey. And so to me, I see this as a chick market move to get into that market, and that's fine. It smells exactly like what it is supposed to be. It smells like maple syrup. And when you taste it, you realize that this is a true alcoholic's whiskey. This is a breakfast whiskey. And so if you have to, it tastes like maple syrup. Not as sweet as maple syrup, and obviously not as thick, but the predominant note is maple syrup. There's some other stuff going on, but maple syrup is rich. And so if you're one of those alcoholics who needs something in the morning to get him started or her started, this is your whiskey. Make some pancake or for hangover, if you want to do hair of the dog with some pancakes and bacon, this is your whiskey. This is made for that. It is sweet. Is that a bad thing? Outside of social events, I would not buy this. And the simple reason is, I think it's slightly too sweet to be a really enjoyable whiskey that you drink on a regular basis, as opposed to a special occasion. And I generally don't like the idea of paying extra for a worse whiskey. And I like this more than this. This is a solid whiskey. This is awful sweet. This is kind of a going to tailgate. I'm going to bring something for girls. And for that, it's a pretty good choice. I think. Although I don't know. It doesn't drink bad. And it's it's along the lines of Jack Honey in that it's not too sweet. Or at least the baseline Crown is balancing the maple. And so you get an experience that's a little more pleasant than you would get if you just had the maple. But for a regular kind of sipping whiskey, as opposed to partying, want something that a lot of people like, I just don't think it matches the bars as far as one I would want to drink regularly. Just like kind of like Jack Honey is not a whiskey I want to drink very often. And obviously Jack Honey got honey liquor in it. It's fine. It's good for what it is, and this is the same. This is more than a worthy addition to that marketplace. And hopefully, this will be a gateway whiskey. My hope is that things like Jack Honey and Crown Maple will cause people to drink more whiskey for their drinking. Ergo, I'm not encouraging increased alcohol consumption, but, the world might be a better place if people sampled whiskey instead of vodka, for instance. And so I encourage anything that replaces, vodka with whiskey. No, nothing wrong with vodka either, but, it's not whiskey. Damn potatoes. So, parties, social events, you want to bring a whiskey that the girls at the party may also enjoy. Your average non-drinking girl, your average vodka drinking girl, I should say. Because there are many wonderful women, and hopefully some of them listen, although when I look at my stats, I'm predominantly male by a vast percentage. And so that's why I mainly talk to guys. This solid value whiskey, you want a decent whiskey for a cheap price. This is not bad. Anyway, that's all I got.